I started music at the age of 3. I asked them, hey, I did a recording with Budapest Scoring Orchestra before, and they're very lovely to work with. Would you like to record it? Since it's a big theme.
It's absolutely lovely.
And that's the best thing about this community, right? Everyone is just wholeheartedly welcome.
I like to score like a solid animation film, a good one.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Infinite Tavern podcast. This is Amaan, your favorite, one of your favorite hosts. Let me be clear about that.
And we have me as well, Raghav, or Anorak as he's known in the D&D world.
The Forever DM.
The Forever DM. That's the best one.
We're back with you with another special guest. We have ever since our win for the Twitter Wars, we have been on a roll. We want to talk to everyone and anyone with any ties to the industry, with any ties to tabletop role-playing games in any scenario. So with that, we have a very special guest today, a composer and someone who recently composed the crit-winning music for High Rollers DnD. Good job.
We did it.
We did it. We got there. Please welcome Jolene Khor.
Hi.
Hello.
No, thank you for having me. I am good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we've been hanging in there.
Oh, amazing. I just wanted to say, before we move on, I've listened to that the music that actually won you the Crit Award, and God, it is amazing. I
Thank
absolutely
you.
love it.
Let's just get out of the
Thank
way.
you so much.
Your music is super cool. We've been listening to a lot of your music. I listened to the Pokemon theme. I think you composed.
Yes.
So you know what? Just tell us a little bit about how we got into this industry. Where did you start with music, and what's your relation to fantasy in general?
Sure. I'll just start by introducing myself. Hi everyone, I'm Jolene. I'm from Malaysia. I started music at the age of 3. I learned the piano. It was under I don't know if it's something people know about. It's called the Yamaha Music Education System, where they actually teach children at the age of 3, but not like playing. It's more of like how they build musicality before jumping into like the nitty-gritty about performances. I think that's really good, especially like you can't expect a 3-year-old to play like Mozart. Like let them enjoy, and then
Yeah.
and then go into the nitty-gritty about things. I started composing at 10. It was for like small competitions. Like it's really the basic of compositions, and then slowly I developed the liking of it and been doing a lot of music improv. Came to the UK to further my studies as a composer for films, TV, animation. And the funny thing is, I never done D&D up to like coming to the UK. I was looking for work, and I think all of us know that after COVID, it was very difficult to look for work, especially as an artist or in the music industry. I put my profile on, out of everywhere, just put on Reddit, and someone picked me up. Someone picked me up from there. It's the CEO of Nomnivorous Games by Derek. Derek's a very nice guy. You should talk to him. He's really great. He actually picked me up, asked me to write music for them, and it kind of started from there. Jumping into the world of D&D started from there. Been writing for music podcasts or like D&D podcasts, which also built my portfolio and landed me like to work with High Rollers DnD in the UK, and that's where I am at the moment. So I'm doing that as well as like composing for films, animation, games, whatsoever.
Like, have you, like, in this whole journey, have you tried playing D&D?
I am playing actually. I actually hosted my first D&D. I became a dungeon master for my
Ah,
fellow friends who have not
yes.
never done D&D. I'm trying to get them
Nice.
in. I'm trying to invite them into this world of imagination.
It is beautiful.
It is beautiful. I'm still playing with my friends that I met in High Rollers DnD.
Mm-hmm.
The community is just lovely, and they are very very nice, and they actually invited me to play along with them. I start playing with them a lot. I might be playing more with other people. I'm more than happy to play people. This is so fun, and host the games. So yeah.
And that's the best thing about this community, right? Everyone is just wholeheartedly welcome into this thing. Like, there's no gatekeepers, no against newcomers or anything. Everyone is just welcome. You're welcome to play. You're welcome to go on an adventures. It's just amazing like that.
I love the fact that you said this world of imagination, because it takes a lot of imagination to make music and listen and appreciate music as well. Again, I speak from my own experience. Whenever I used to listen to a piece of music, there's always visuals going on in my mind when I'm listening whenever I'm listening to a piece of music. So you want to talk about a little bit
Exactly.
about the work you've done in your films and games, as in games and all of that as well.
Before coming to the UK, we only done rescore. So rescoring is taking existing videos and
Hmm.
just writing your own music to it. So it's like kind of like a practice.
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of like apply for work, really. If you don't have the portfolio or you don't have experience working with other people yet, that's one way to do it. When I was at the Royal College of Music, they actually have collaborations with London Film School, Central St Martin's, Royal College of Arts, and they have like animation students or film students who are looking for composers. So that's kind of like how I built out my portfolio, because sometimes we send these projects off to film festivals. We sometimes win, sometimes we don't, but it's like a mixed bag, really. Just it's quite fun, and it really builds up my portfolio on IMDb and things like that. The most memorable ones I did were like for animations, because like in my opinion, a few animations, well, at least for me, you get to do a lot on animations because it's also quite like colorful, or sometimes it's also quite like it's not like a film where you need to like really emphasize with music, but on animation you can do that. Not saying that films are bad, I'm just saying like there's also things you need to do in films, but I felt animation was quite memorable. And I really want to get into games, because back then we did not have any games modules, meaning there's no opportunities to work with video game developers. So I just got into like game jams where you make games within a limited amount of time, which I used to apply for like game mentorships. I'm also writing for a farming sim at the moment. It's
Ooh.
still a work in progress. There is a trailer since 2 years ago. The developer just needs some time to really
Mhm.
build that world. It's open world farming sim, so it's huge, and he's very detailed about everything. So it's
That
gonna take a while before we see something. Yeah.
that's fair. It's interesting you said farming, because whenever I hear farming sims or any of these sort of games like Terraria, or you have all of these other games, um, the feeling that I get from hearing the music is, peace.
Yeah.
You are doing something, you hear just light music in the background, and it's just a state of peace. And one of the pieces of music that you wrote is called A Waltz in the Rain, which is
That
so
one.
good. It's so good, and it felt so Ghibli-esque, if that makes sense. It felt like
Yes.
it could belong in a Studio Ghibli movie. It it
I'm
was so
glad that I'm glad that's what you said, because that was what I was going for.
I mean, all of us here are such huge fans of Studio Ghibli films, because again, it in some of your works, I think now that you've admitted it, it shows kind of like, okay, yeah, I can hear a bit of Joe Hisaishi in this
Yes.
thing, and it's absolutely lovely. Um,
Thank you.
how again, shifting away from that, you have something as peaceful and Ghibli as Waltz in the Rain, but then we come to something like the Dragon Empire. Ghibli-esque, it shifts to Lord of the Rings-esque in a
Yes.
way. Do you
Yeah,
want to
well,
talk a little bit about the process of how actually you do these compositions when you're thinking about when you're asked to write these huge pieces?
for things like that, like Althea the Dragon Empire, well, that piece is really inspired by a lot of like those very orchestral themes, like what you mentioned earlier, Lord of the Rings by Howard Shore. Another one that I was very inspired is by John Powell's How to Train a Dragon. That was kind of like
Oh yes,
a very
How to
big,
Train Your Dragon is
very
yes.
so
like
good.
flying, very brass support with strings, sort of like orchestral feel. So were you asking like how I started writing something like that? Is that a
Yeah, I mean,
question?
like your sort of inspirations. What is going in the back of your mind when you're writing these pieces?
It's a very interesting process because we talked about this with a lot of composers, and for me, the way I did things is more of like I played things on my piano over here. This is how it started on the piano, on my Logic Pro software, and then I kind of just built things from there. Just start adding like melodies, harmonies, and then adding like the strings, the brass. It kind of just starts building from there. It's like really really difficult to kind of like explain. Oh, I use this harmony or that harmony. No, I kind of just I play. I liked it. I continue with that sort of situation. Um, I also like listen to a lot of the way these composers orchestrate because they have very intricate orchestration methods, and it's very beautiful. Like how every instrument is being used and why it's being used and how intricate everything is. It really helped with my compositional process, and I think the best part is actually sitting down and listening to it again and sending off to the high rollers and them really liking it, which also turned into like, would you like to record this? And they did say yes, and it was phenomenal. That was phenomenal.
So, how did that conversation really? What was that first conversation like? Like, hey, we want to compose. We want you to compose a theme for our campaign.
They were about to finish their second campaign, which is Erois. It lasted for 5 years. I think Mark, the DM, wanted to like kind of like move on to something new. So they asked me like, because I actually started not on Althea. The first music that I helped to write for them is for the Erois finale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Erois, I wrote for them two pieces: Infinite Staircase and Elegy of Entropy. So it's basically like the final battle music as they kind of like go into the lair of the the final boss kind of thing. I'm not gonna spoil too much. That's basically the gist of it. And when they were like trying to like finish the campaign, they actually said that we're gonna do a new campaign in November. Would you like to write a new theme? I said yes, definitely. I love working with them. They are fantastic people to work with. And they show me the maps. They show me the arts. They show me some of the idea of it and what is it all about. It's about like the Dragon Empire and the how it's being governed by lords that are actually dragons. So it has to have that very How to Train Your Dragon like sort of feel, and that's how we kind of brainstorm it. And the theme was actually a minute long because it has to fit like an intro. So every time you watch the high rollers from from episode 1, it's just going to be a short intro. That was the original one that I worked with. And then I asked them, hey, I did a recording with Budapest Scoring Orchestra before, and they're very lovely to work with. Would you like to record it? Since it's a big theme, I'm just, I was very casual about it because there's a lot of money involved. Even though it's like Budapest Scoring Orchestra is actually quite manageable in terms of fee, but it's still quite a lot of money. I just casually asked, would you like to get it recorded? Chris Trott was loving the idea. So we asked Kim, and Kim was like, "Oh yeah, sure. Here's some money. Go play," and and then I
That's
scheduled
awesome.
a recording session. Yeah, and then after that, I actually had to sit down with them. Like, if we're recording this, I think it's worth expanding the theme into 3 minutes long because we're doing this fantastical theme. Might as well expand it, make it bigger, and now the version that you hear on Spotify is
Yeah, it's 3 minutes,
the actual, yeah, it's 3 minutes long.
and it's superb. I mean,
It is
yeah,
amazing.
like I
Thank
told you,
you.
it's
Thank
already
you,
on my
everyone.
playlist. It's on my playlist for my other fantasy games as well now.
I'm very honored. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's the truth. As you sort of beginning this musical journey for yourself at the age of 3, let me add for all of the people that hey, if you need any conviction of Jolene's talent, she started at the age of 3, where I hadn't even started talking.
Aman, what were you doing at the age of 3?
I don't know. I can't remember. I definitely wasn't composing music. I had no idea what music really was. I'll be honest.
I mean, to be fair, at the age of 3, I'm just learning what is music and rhythm, musicality, pitch, what's good music, what's not good.
You were
Like not good
learning.
as in like out of pitch.
You were learning what was music. You were learning to talk. We were learning the basic words at that point.
Hey, I mean, like I have to say, music. Learning music doesn't have to like start at a very young age. You can start later. It's fine. It's just the conviction of keep learning. I've
Yep.
seen people who kind of like regretted not learning. Now they're learning, which is great. Or some
Yeah.
of them who learn halfway through, and maybe at the age of 12, they're kind of like, "Oh, music's not cool. I don't want to be the
Yeah.
nerd."
Raghav, can we say this? We are going to have an original piece of music for our upcoming campaign.
Nice.
Announcement.
Announcement time, everyone!
And look at this.
Oh,
Hey,
ukulele. That's cute.
Yeah, not mine. It's my. I'm staying at a friend's place. So yeah. When it comes to music, I'm the last one to actually. Guys, I tried learning keyboard, but
Nice.
yeah, academics got in my way. And after that,
Yeah.
I did buy a harmonica, which I am currently learning.
what Raghav did was instead of pushing buttons on a musical keyboard, he pushes the buttons of his players while he's DMing.
Either way,
That's always fun. That's always fun. I'm
That
not
is.
gonna lie.
So the question I was actually getting to is, Jolene, what
Yes.
were your musical inspirations as you were, sort of getting into this industry? You are building up your resume portfolio. You still have to listen for your enjoyment as well, right?
Yeah.
And take
Yeah.
inspirations and everything from what you hear. I certainly do. Even though I don't write half as good as Mike Shinoda, I still try.
So I have a lot of composers I love to listen to. So at the moment, I listen to a lot of Hisaiishi's work, definitely. Like it's up there. And then you got John Powell, you got John Williams, you got the Johnnies. For some reason, a lot of them are named John, which is cool, sure. And then there's also Howard Shore. We definitely need a Howard Shore.
oh yeah,
Borislav Slavov, who made the music for Baldur's Gate 3. I had
Ooh.
a lovely time chatting with him. He's so nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
Actually, just to get it out there, I also run a podcast where we talk to composers. So
oh that
Oh,
is
hell yeah.
that actually helped us to talk to composers because we were like, "Hey, we would like to talk about your stuff. Would you like to talk about your stuff?" And they're like, "Yeah, I like to talk about my stuff."
What's that
Sure.
podcast called?
It's called Composers in a Jukebox. I can type it for you. It's a long name.
Composers in a jukebox. We got it. We'll also link it.
guys,
In our
make sure
show
to
notes.
check it out.
Composers in a jukebox. You get that wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple
Yeah,
Podcasts.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. I think
Just
everywhere
add it to
really.
the queue. Once you finish this episode, you could just directly jump
Yeah.
into that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Finish this
You
episode,
want-
however.
We can finish this episode and then you can jump to the episode where we talk to Borislav because I think a lot of people who play Baldur's Gate are also like D&D fans as well, or like trying to get into D&D. That's what I found out because High Rollers actually had a very nice collaboration with Larian Studios, and they
Yeah.
you probably saw that they actually had like a nice D&D sessions with the cast members, which actually got them into D&D, or maybe they already played D&D. I don't know. And yeah, a lot of the Baldur's Gate fans actually jump into High Rollers from there, which is great, really nice. And I also had the chance to talk with Borislav about it. We also have a few composers that we talked to, like Nicholas Hooper, who wrote the music for Harry Potter. I think it's the 5th film and the 6th film. He's a very lovely composer, very nice guy. Oh yeah, inspirations. Also, a lot of video game inspiration music. So Mass Effect, fantastic game, fantastic music. Love Sam Hewlett. I'm also checking my Spotify so that I can remember what the names are. I'm sorry. I listen to a lot of things. I just need to, because like as a composer, I think it's very important to be versatile. You can be very good at what you're doing. Like you can be like a fantasy composer, but it's also good to be versatile. Otherwise, like you'd be pigeonholed into one sort of like style, which is fine if that's what you're going for. But there are composers who are complaining that like, oh, I keep getting like murder mystery films. I'm a bit tired of the depression. I want to move to something else, but they can't leave because they're too good at this, which is understandable. But I'm pretty happy with fantasy. I love fantasy. Another one that I love to listen to is Andrew Parlow. So he is the composer for Outer Wilds. Fantastic music. I couldn't really get into the game. It's really difficult for me. Maybe I'm not that good at it, but music's great. Japanese composers or songwriters, Jen Hoshino. There's also like the composer who did the music for Persona 5. So good. I got a lot to go. Like we have, we'll need the whole day.
I've been recently listening to a lot of Susumu Hirasawa, the one who composed for Paprika.
Nice.
That's one of my favorite soundtracks. The soundtrack for Paprika. It's so
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
yeah. It's
So good.
it's so wild. Let me say the soundtrack. It's really wild, but it gets you in the mood. Like, okay, this sounds like something I would hear in a dream, basically.
Exactly.
If I'm not wrong, you also play jazz.
Yeah, I used to play jazz. I used to play in a jazz band in college. It was much easier to host for like practice sessions. Everyone's in college. Not doing much right now because like it's very much difficult to get people in the room to play, or like find a reason to get people in the room to play. It has to like you need to perform and earn money, and then that's kind of motivates people to do things. Otherwise, I just play jazz for fun or for soundtracks that I need to write. Sometimes they want like a cool jazz, very backgrounds music. I can do that. I like jazz because it's like it has a lot of very beautiful harmonies, and it kind of inspired a lot of the Japanese composers to create their music through that. So I think jazz is very important if you want to like venture out to different harmonies and be a little bit different with your music compared to other people.
Yeah, there's also another thing that I like about jazz. I don't listen to a lot of jazz, but I've heard it here and there, is how things don't necessarily need to resolve in jazz. Sometimes. And that's in a way sort of how Ghibli also sort of Joe Hisaishi also wrote, is you get the feeling that okay, this note needs to resolve into something else, but then it goes into something else, and it still feels like okay, this gives us certain kind of feeling to me.
Exactly.
Like okay, it's still the journey's still continuing, we're going down a different path now. It's very jazzy in that sense. So again, we went on about jazz. I wanted to know what are the other sort of genres and things that you listen to or are inspired from.
Other than jazz, I would say I still listen to a lot of classical music. That's like the core of things, because in the end, classical music has such intricate orchestration, instrumentation, or the way the composer like writes their harmonies and melodies. That's like staple. That's like the Bible. You gotta read the Bible, sort of thing. Like you gotta study the classics. So there's that. Otherwise, I'm also like still a huge fan of like pop music. I still have like the old Bruno Mars songs and things like that. Another composer that I really like is Nobuo Uematsu's music from Final Fantasy.
Okay.
So good.
Yeah, I've seen that track, and I've heard that track over so many fantasy playlists, like Final Fantasy. So was it 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's a lot. He wrote a lot. He wrote a lot.
okay, so Final Fantasy 7. I think that track I've heard uh, in so many playlists. It's definitely one of the best ones out there. Do you use any tools, or do you use music while you're running games?
I would one day love to have my own like albums of like my battle music, my tavern music, my boss music, like something generic to like use in my D&D sessions. But that's gonna be a lot of accumulation of music. It's gonna
Yeah.
take a while to hit that. Otherwise, I've been thinking about try. Well, I already had a look at Pocket Bard. It's also a very fantastic app
Yeah,
to
I've heard about it.
yeah. Alex, I spoke to Alex, and he's very kind to show me how it works and everything. And well, hopefully, I love to work with them one day. They're a very nice bunch of people who are making immersive experiences through music and sound effects. Actually, they are adding like thunderstorms or like winds or like those really cool sound effects that makes it immersive, and you can actually tweak the fader to make it either intense or not intense depending on the situation. That's like a really good app to use. I haven't actually bought it. I used it, but I haven't bought it yet because well, I haven't been DMing a lot, but maybe one day when I DM more, I'll get it, or I'll write my own music.
Absolutely. There's another thing that went on Kickstarter recently called Fantasy Plus.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think
previous guest also talked about it. So it is something that I think provides music for your games, like like
music, sound effects, ambiances. I think all of those.
yeah, I think it's like copyright free
oh,
music.
this is from Monument Studios. Yeah, Monument Studios is pretty good. I know High Rollers. I think they use Monument Studios if I remember correctly, or is it Epidemic Sounds? But it's somewhat the same sort of thing. Yeah, they do have. They have been using those sort of music for when they're playing, because like I understand, like if you're playing like a 3-hour session and you're looping the same music again and again, it's just gonna
Yeah.
be very boring.
Yeah, I've had that trouble during a recent edit of an actual play episode where I'm like, okay, I have to find some different music now because I have been looping it twice or thrice now, and the listeners will get bored of it.
Yeah.
And again, it's especially for an amateur, it's really hard to find like really good music which you can use on your podcast for free.
Yeah.
Sometimes things, they take a lot of fees for really good music. And yeah, like Fantasy Plus, I don't know if Pocket Bard has that. uh,
I
uh,
think they do. Yeah, I think it's fine for podcasting. It
uh,
might ask. I didn't really specify, but yeah, I think it's fine for that. I mean, like a lot of people are using it.
yeah,
It should be fine.
should be
Really.
fine. Yeah, so yeah, that's another thing. Not a lot of virtual tabletops I've seen are able to integrate music that well, though. Raghav, have you seen like Roll20 or anything like been able to integrate music?
I mean, Roll20 does do that, but it's a big studio that does these things. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the smaller ones, they I've seen a few of them do it. I follow this one called the Dirty Tavern or something. I don't remember the name. And even Don Marshall's Unexpected Party also does it
Uh,
good well.
uh, but
Unpredicted
yeah,
Party. Why am I saying
the
Unexpected?
unpredicted
Unexpected
party
Party is the name. Is the name on this? Is a chapter in the book.
is a chapter in the Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah. No, the Unexpected Party is the chapter. Lord of the Rings is the Long Expected Party.
oh,
The
sorry,
Unexpected
oh
Party is about the
yeah,
Hobbit.
Hobbit. Yeah, the first chapter,
Yeah.
an unexpected party. Uh, Jolene, apart from we have talked about music, we have talked about D&D. Let's talk about movies a bit. What kind of movies do you enjoy, and any kind of particular fantasy movies that you like watching?
You nailed the the idea. I really like fantasy films, as you can tell. Fantasy animation films are my favorite. Uh, I like anything that is like very fantastical, like Jurassic Park,
Yeah,
classic. Love it. Love the dinosaurs. Love to actually score for a dinosaur documentary, but one day. It's just a
one
bit
day.
difficult to render a dinosaur and have something to talk about them. They always have someone else to do it. but
John
but yeah,
Williams'
one
Manifesting
day.
score in
this.
the Jurassic Park was beautiful. John
Oh
Williams, right?
yeah,
It was
one
John
of the
Williams.
best
Yeah.
ones.
John
Yeah, I think
Williams.
it was John Williams.
It is John Williams. Very good. Very good score. Apparently, people say that that's not his best score, but I do really like Jurassic Park and the
I
music of
love it.
it.
People always like
Um,
said it's Binary Sunset, but Jurassic Park is up there.
yeah, Jurassic Park is up there. Other than those sort of films, I think I like films from Japanese animation studios like Kimi no Nawa. It's a very good one.
Oh yes,
Oh, I
that is
love
so
it.
good.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Music and art and story, so beautiful.
I
It's
love the
just
music from Spirited Away though.
yes, that's a very good one.
I
Spirited
personally
Away,
like Totoro more. It's
Spirited
uh,
Away,
That's also very
and
nice.
the song Kiki's Delivery Service. Those are my
I think
favorites.
that's all Joe Hisaishi, right?
It's all him. I don't think he ever had someone else to compose
I
other music. It's
think
just all
there
him.
was. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's mostly him.
It's mostly him. Yes, he's so good. I had a very lovely chance to actually watch his live show last year. He
Oh
finally came
wow!
to London, and I've been telling people about this. He's so good at his music. And at the end of the concert, he actually said he was so sorry that he couldn't be at in London or like in other places to do his concert due to COVID, and he felt very guilty about it. And then he kind of cried because of like how well received he is. And I'm like, well, you don't have to say sorry for that. It's not really your fault. COVID happened. I don't think anyone wanted that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite fantasy film?
My favorite. I don't know if it's very normie to say How to Train a Dragon because the music is so good.
It's not normie. It's not normie at all. It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah,
On
absolutely.
on a trilogy, it's literally one of the best trilogies out there.
Yep.
Very underrated. Not a lot of people talk about it. The music, the characterization, the animation, everything. It's so good. It's one of the best fantasy movies over there. And it is like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's literally like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Yeah,
It
it is.
is. It is.
No,
It is when everyone gets a dragon, which is the coolest thing. Like, oh, everybody's getting a dragon. Everybody gets the right one. That's fun. And then you got
Ac-
one that looks like a puppet.
I run 3 campaigns, and one of my campaigns that happens on Friday nights. That in that one, the party has this a pet, a dragon pet. So its whole personality is
Nice.
based on Toothless.
Nice. That's beautiful. That's lovely. I like that. I need to have a new character. I'm like making a few characters up as as the time goes on. I kind of want to try different things, and I like to try out a character that has a pet dragon. I just need to find a good situation to use it, and it doesn't break the game because I'm a bit worried.
Yeah,
It is a dragon.
Oh, this one's the baby dragon.
fair enough.
It's just that I really like How to Train Dragons so much that if you see just below my dog, my fake dog, let me just show you. I have the actual film
Oh,
What are those?
film scores.
Yeah, those are film scores.
Oh,
The film
wow.
scores of the film. It's also three. There's 3 books. First book, second book, and the third book. Very heavy.
Wow.
Oh,
I bet.
That is my score study target to finish all 3 books within like next year.
Wait a minute. Let me show you something. I can't brag about it. It's not that big, but again, and this book is entirely in Japanese. That's one major problem of this. It's The Art of Ponyo on the Cliff.
Oh,
Cool.
that's fantastic. That's
So
fantastic. That's a good book.
when I'm trying to draw something, some a little bit Ghibli-esque, I always like turn to this. It has all the storyboards and notations. The problem is it's all in Japanese, so I
Google
can't
Lens.
read it.
Google Lens.
Yeah, sure. I mean, okay, but yeah, even just when you were kids, when you couldn't read or understand the words on a book, but there were pictures,
Yeah.
and you interpreted it through that. It's like this. It's like, okay, I'm sure it's about character customization, how they look when they're turned, when they're this way, that way. So I just like take inspirations from this, and this book is. I mean, you don't have to read; you just have to turn the pages and look at the pictures, and it's so beautiful. I mean,
It
it's
is.
it's Ghibli. It's fucking Ghibli, man.
It's also a good story, good music, and I think Ponyo has one of the most Wagner like esque music. So I don't know if you know Wagner. He's like the guy who started he's kind of like the father of film music because he started off with like creating themes for each character, and that's kind of how like people have their own motifs, leitmotifs. He started it. Not a great guy. I know he's like not nice, but he's a very good composer. I know we're going on a tangent on the initial question, but I hope that
We are known for our
Fine.
tangents. We are known for our tangents on this podcast. We go into
The
tangents.
podcast is the second name of the podcast is called The Infinite Tangents.
it's fine. We're enjoying, we're vibing. It's good.
Yeah. So another question: if
Yeah?
there's one thing that you would like, again, you told us about about the dinosaur film, the documentary as well. But
Yeah.
if there's anything else that if you could just wish for it, like, hey, I want to score this right now. Like, I really want this. What's that one thing on your mind or on your list?
I like to score like a solid animation film, a good one. Fantasy animation film. That's one of them, or a fantasy inspired video game. That's also something I love to score for because there's so many things you can do, and like a game that wants you to really get yourself immersed through music. So, for example, if you take Divinity Original Sins 2, for example,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like to use that as an example because in the character selection, you get to pick your instrument, and that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Because I think that's cool because every time you do like a critical hit or like you kill the enemy, they have like a Borisov made like a really cool like layer where the instrument that you pick will play at the foreground and then kind of fades off later. It works so well. It's that sort of thing I love to be able to compose. Anything like whimsical, Ghibli-esque, like maybe an anime. Anime would be great. I love watching anime when I was young. I wish I can find time to do more of that. I'm missing out on a lot. But yeah, those are the things I love to score for. But I'm not like oh, it's not these things I'm not going to score. No, I'm pretty much open with that. But those are my preferences, and I hope to actually be able to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, we're gonna manifest that.
Yeah.
Everybody fans, we're gonna manifest this.
Thank you.
Oh man, that's so good.
Oh, yes. One more. And a
Yeah.
Pokemon game. And a Pokemon game.
Ah.
I wish. I mean, you can see my collection of like. There's a Giratina there. There is a Mew here. There
Oh,
is. There is the Pikachu's here. I don't know. I just. It's a. Yeah. I like Pokemon a lot, and it's also my inspiration for a lot of my music, and that's why I was really happy to be composing like the theme for this Fake Mon region by this really cool artist, Panio. When he approached me to like, hey, would you mind if you like we commission you to like compose for our new region? I'm like, yeah, that's dope. Let's do it. That's the coolest thing I ever done. Well, one of the coolest things. Yeah, I
so
love to do
what
more of
was
that.
that region? I mean, what was it about? Was it about a game, or was it about something that was
So it's a
written
it's a
out?
concept region. It's a concept region. So I
Okay.
follow a lot of artists on Instagram, like concept artists or like
Mm-hmm.
people who likes to draw.
Yeah.
I also like to follow people who like to draw fake ones because it's very interesting on how they would like interpret their version of Pokemon.
Yeah.
So he made a lot of like what if Elden Ring characters are Pokemon, and again, sorry,
Happy
and,
birthday to you.
it's not my birthday yet, but thanks. So he made a lot of like different versions of like concept art of Pokemon. If like Midori is a Pokemon, or like if the Naruto character's Pokemon, and then one day decided let's make a Pokemon region based in Italy that has Chinese influences. So the music that you heard is like very. I'm trying to get it like very Mediterranean is inspired sort of like style, with a hint of Chinese instruments in it, so that it has that concept that Panyo was looking for. In his YouTube video, he did explain like what was the inspiration. The location is situated in the Mediterranean, like and like it's supposed to be influenced by Italian influences and Chinese. I think that was like a concept that he was going for. I forgot the name, but that's how it is.
That's so cool. Because again, that theme felt different. I'm like, that's a cool Pokemon theme to have, and um, so that definitely makes sense. That Mediterranean feel is certainly there. Very, I think very recently I watched the last episode with Ash,
Ah,
and that brought tears to my eyes for some reason. I mean, like I started out with Ash getting electrocuted by Pikachu.
yeah.
And to see that whole journey, that was really fucking cool. And I watched the English, I think the English dubbed version, so
Ah,
that had the theme, the
yep,
the
yep,
Pokemon song.
yep.
I'm really forgetting the singer's name and the composer's name, but yeah, when they're doing the final attack, when Pikachu is doing the final attack on Charizard,
Yeah,
that music starts to play. I want to be the very best.
that's
And I'm like,
so
oh my god.
good.
I'm like, okay, you're gonna make me cry now. It's the theme
I
of my
think that's the
childhood.
pinnacle. That's the pinnacle of the episode. That was very heart wrenching to know that the episode's ending, and that's like the coolest
Oh
moment
yeah.
for
I
Ash.
mean that like sort of solidifies, okay, this is journey is our ending. Let us send you off on a high.
Yeah, it's
Uh
such a good episode. Also, very sad to see Ash is gone now.
yeah.
Yeah, I watched Pokemon when I was young too. I didn't follow all the episodes.
Yeah, neither
We
did
well,
I.
I didn't have the opportunity to watch a lot of Pokemon. We didn't buy the the Cartoon Network channel sort of thing.
Mhm.
We don't get to watch it all more often. But I play the games, and that send off was just beautiful.
What's been the favorite moment of D&D or tabletop role playing games in general so far? Apart from the compositions, I'm talking about the game itself, or an
I
actual
th-
play, or your games.
Like you can solve problems in different ways, and I like that. I like that about D&D. There's so many things that could go wrong with a wrong dice roll, or if you say something wrong, which is
Oh
funny.
yeah.
That's the funniest thing ever. And like you don't have to solve one problem one way. Like you don't have to open the door with a key. You can just fire blast it or whatever. Like just fireball it and see what happens. The door is actually not locked, or like the villagers need some help. You can burn the village. Not saying that you should. Not saying I would do that. I'm just saying that's the
Dark
option to
Urge.
do it.
The Dark Urge.
No, you don't have to read that. That's fine. It's like I won't do it, but it's funny that you can do that. It's just. Oh yeah, you can do whatever you want really if you think creatively enough. I made a game that was for composers, like people who love music. It's done in a way that nobody can play other classes except for bards.
Ah, yes, all about party. That's
An all bard
nice.
party.
Oops, all bards.
Oh, it should
Like
be pretty chaotic though, since
it was very chaotic because they start flirting with
exactly.
the NPC. So well, it's spot on, but I'm like, no, stop. So that's the funny part. So we had like I wrote a fun story. It's like I'm still gonna improve the story, but I think it was like the first story I ever written, and I think it was a fun one. Basically, the characters have to go save someone, save a lady from the dragon. It's like pretty standard story. However, they get to the dragon's lair. The dragon's like, "Oh no, you're not gonna fight me. We're gonna see who's the better bard. If you impress me, I'll let the lady go."
Oh, interesting.
So it's kind of like a bard off. So that was the fun part because I get to see my fellow composers do something. And actually, one of them even wrote a song for the occasion and rolled really high. He rolled a 20 with a
Oh
song.
yeah.
I'm like, well,
That-
okay.
That's cool.
So I actually played. I love playing bards. I play this.
Bards are fun.
A very mischievous bard, I would say, a chaotic bard called Ekmos, a fire starter. Do not ask me how he got his last name. But yeah, he's a fire genasi. But before that, I played
Ah,
another Dragonborn bard along with two of my other friends who also played Dragonborn bards. We were a band called Imagine Humans. Uh,
fantastic. I love that.
that was so good.
And
NPCs were boarding a train during zombie apocalypse, and we had to calm them down. So all three of us rolled nat 20s on our performance check at the same time.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow. The dice
uh,
gods loved you guys that day.
oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and didn't you have to sing?
Oh yeah, we had to sing Radioactive.
Yeah, so the
Oh.
DM said like, okay, you have all not to. I need all of you to sing Radioactive now.
That's such a good idea. I didn't actually ask them to sing. I just asked them to like, just do what you as a bard want to do because one of them is a painter and she rolled pretty low, like mid. I would say 12 is a mid, but not good enough, right? You want to impress the dragon. Mid
Yeah.
12 isn't enough. So I said that she's doing like a contemporary art thing. And then I'm like, do you want to bullshit the dragon and say that this is like the finest of finest art and then it's like very intricate? She rolled 19. The dragon bought the painting from her, which is kind of funny.
That's cool. Actually,
So yeah,
I hadn't thought of like a bard being a painter. I've thought about
I
mostly
had
them doing with writing stuff, but I
yeah.
haven't thought of them as like a painter.
I've
That's
had this
actually
idea
cool.
for a long time actually. A bard subclass called College of Art or something that has them draw. Yeah, kind of like a Sai from Naruto. So whatever he
Yeah.
draws, it just comes to life. The bards can use that to summon creatures or something like that. I know what you're thinking about, but yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, you can Google Shaka Laka Boom Boom. That's a chakalaka boom boom, the magic pencil. You just draw and it comes to life. That's, I mean, you can't just, sure Naruto, but as an Indian, it's chakalaka boom boom, dude.
I know.
But that's a badass character if you can like summon via art.
Exactly.
Uh,
But it can be
I
easily broken. So we need to think of limitations and all of that.
yeah, the limitation is important. Or like you have to homebrew it in a way that it kind of works.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Yeah,
like being careful. That's like another character I'm trying to build. A bard that can't cast any other magic than music related magic. So the idea is my bard is was supposed to be able to perform, now can't perform, but is able to conduct. And when the bard conducts, the music actually summons his composition into spirits to fight for him. But he can't do anything else. That's it.
a rule of cool allows for a lot of good things to happen as well.
I like the rule of cool. The rule of cool is always awesome.
The rule of cool is cool. Yeah.
Why are you like
So,
this, dude?
but Raghav, anything else on your
Yeah,
end?
I do have a question that I've asked a lot of our guests.
Yeah,
So Jolene, for anyone who might be any of the new ones who might be entering the music industry, or anyone who might be entering
yeah.
the composing, is there any piece of advice that you would like to give them?
Networking. I think networking is the most important thing ever because no matter how good you are, I think the most important thing is people know that you're good. Like, hey, this is me. I do this, and check out my cool stuff. And people have to be able to access your work really easily. And then you go networking with people. That's the most important thing. That's like a few things you need to do. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of grinding of like meeting people, but again, that's how you get into the industries by meeting people. And those who are like starting out in like music college, I would say take the opportunity to meet as much musicians or have a lot of collaborations as much as possible because that's when you get to like um, talk to musicians and ask them to help you out on a favor. And because everyone's like a student, you kind of can just collaborate instead of like, hey, um, you're not a student anymore, you need to pay like this amount of money, and maybe you're starting out, you don't have that amount of investment ready, and that would be a problem. So take the opportunity to like do competitions or like collaborations, meet up with people and work with them. That's always a good idea to build your portfolio from there instead of waiting after you graduate.
So, Jolene, before we end the episode, is there any future projects or any other thing that you would like to plug in?
Future projects. Well, I'm still gonna be writing some music for High Rollers. Can't say much about it, but if you are interested, you can check out High Rollers. They're a very lovely group. Having my music in the theater was fantastic. That was like a really cool experience. I never thought that before I hit the age of 30, I have my music in the West End Theater, which is like, okay, that's pretty good. I'm putting that in my CV. But yeah. Other than that, I am working on a dark fantasy album with a friend, so that's gonna come up soon. It's very much inspired by Elden Ring and Bloodborne. Yes, I play both. Well, I play Elden Ring. I'm waiting for Bloodborne to be available on Steam. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it, so we'll see one day I can play the game. I love Elden Ring a lot. Love the music. That's my upcoming projects. Other than that, will be the video games I'm working on. Very small games. Uh, but it will all be on my Instagram and website if you ever feel so interested to check it out.
Please do check out Jolene Khor on Spot. You just go to Spotify and search for Jolene Khor. Most of her music is there,
Yes.
and yeah.
Oh, I do have to say something. Don't just put
Oh
my
yeah,
first name. If you
yeah,
put my
Jolene
first name,
Khor.
yeah.
Yeah,
If you put my first name, it's Dolly Parton coming out, not me.
yeah.
Just saying.
That's also one thing. Like, has anybody made that? Or I'm sure people must have when they're greeting you. Instead of saying "Hey Jolene," they must be like,
They start
singing
singing.
that. Yeah, they start singing.
I meet, okay, out of 10 Americans I meet, 9 of them sing. The one that does not sing are being just polite. They will sing just to be. They're being very polite not to sing it. So yes, it happened, and like in the fan meetup, because we had like a fan meetup during the live show, that did not happen. But I feel like that might happen. Like there's something going on.
Now that we have acknowledged it, it will happen.
Oh shit.
So please go to Spotify, Jolene Khor. That's JoleneKhor.
Yes.
Go search for her. Listen to the music. It's amazing. And we are looking forward to hear more from you, like really, really soon.
Thank you so
And
much, everybody. Thank you you too. Thank you, Amaan. Thank you,
And
Raghav. You guys have been amazing hosts.
thank you for agreeing to
thank
do
you so
this.
much. Yeah,
Like
thank you
you
so much
Oh
for
almost
no, of
agreeing.
immediately
course.
said you would be happy to do it, so that's amazing.
And just to let our listeners know, if you're listening to this on Spotify, we are also on YouTube, and this podcast should be available as a video podcast as well. Both places, whatever your preferred platform, give us a follow there, give us a like, give us a subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and please comment on the podcast. Please, it really, really helps us grow, especially on Spotify. It's so hard to grow on Spotify. But yeah, please rate us, please give us a comment, and until the next time, may all your rolls be
Great.
20s, hundreds.
Yeah, whatever the
No,
That
not
highest is.
hundreds. No. Yeah, not
not
definitely not
20.
100 if you're playing Call of Cthulhu, because
Uh,
that's a fumble. So yeah, until next time, we'll see you in the next episode. All right, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.